It is 5 o'clock somewhere, and you've tuned into Season 3, Episode 2 of BRC. For those of you who'd like to watch this episode, I highly recommend it. You can view Season 3 on our website, YouTube, Spotify, whiskeynetwork.net, and Zencastr. I'm Kerry Moynahan, and in today's Tales from the Still, I speak with Brian Summers about his consulting company, Tuning Spoon. Then later in the show, Chef Louise Leonard stops by to taste some of Brian's homemade eggnog. So kick off your shoes, pour yourself a dram, and join me for this episode of Barrel Room Chronicles.
There's nothing better than the smell of coffee in the morning. What if you could enjoy a coffee subscription of fresh, roasted specialty coffee while making a difference in the lives of the farmers that grow it? What if you also had access to a virtual coffee community of other coffee lovers and the coffee farmer and roaster? That's all part of the Farm to Cup Coffee Club subscription at Unleashed Coffee. Subscribe today. UnleashedCoffee.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, to whatever time it is you are watching the show today. On the show, I have Brian Summers of Tuning Spoon. Tuning Spoon, you say? What is Tuning Spoon? Well, Brian is here to tell us all about it. Brian, welcome.
Hello. How's it going, Kerry?
It's glad going well. I'm glad to have you. So we met through a mutual friend with Tell 'em or do, but we won't say.
Yeah.
Tell 'em or do. Because they're not sponsoring. But that's okay.
Fair.
But if you want to sponsor Tell 'em or do, go ahead.
There
all
it
right.
is.
Anyway, so we met and she told me all about you and your company. And I think it's just fascinating. So I'd love to have you tell our audience today about the Tuning Spoon and what it is you do there and your journey, your whiskey journey.
Absolutely. So I founded Tuning Spoon, which is basically like a tuning fork that resonates, but it's actually a bar spoon. So it's very much about the human connection aspect, the personal aspect of building a brand and creating brand experiences. So I have, almost 2 decades of experience behind, working behind some of LA's best craft cocktail bars. And I spent almost a decade, working for some incredible spirit brands, a lot of single malts, cognacs, agave spirits, and eventually got to a place where I was like, I've got some pretty, deeply held convictions and working philosophies that I want to lean into, that I believe are the most potent channel when it comes to building a brand. So it's very much about resonating with the soul of a brand and vibrating with the heart of their audience.
Fantastic. So if somebody wanted to hire Tuning Spoon, what kind of services could you provide?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do everything from field marketing strategy, brand ambassador programs, experiential marketing events. I also help out bars, hotels, private clubs with beverage programming, be it a craft cocktail program or something a little bit more turnkey. And then, of course, personal experiences around tasting delicious liquid.
That's fantastic. So we always like to start out the show with getting your whiskey journey. So when you were a wee little lad, did you ever think that you would be doing all of this in the alcohol realm?
I don't think as a wee one that was on my radar yet. But my mother, R.I.P., definitely helped me lean into the values of good food. I believe that good food and good drink are the greatest conduit to human connection. And so my mom was an incredible chef, and the way she loved food and was able to be so mindful with the way she experienced it rubbed off on me. And I found myself, forging a career in food, drink, hospitality. And, once that spark was lit, that passion, that fire just kept burning.
And you are a native Angelino, correct? Los Angelinos?
That's right. Absolutely. Born and raised.
That's a rare thing.
People say that a lot. And then I guess us native Angelinos tend to gravitate to each other. I know lots of native Angelinos, and I meet lots of native Angelinos. But I suppose
I only know 2, and you're one of them. So
I'll take it. You know what? Call me rare then, even though I'm not.
Nice. You're as rare as a fine whiskey. There you go.
I'll take it. I will take it.
So, when you say left high school, what
hmm
was your career aim at that point? And did you start in the hospitality industry there? Did you go to college and do some, or what's the deal?
Yeah, at that point, I was convinced I was going to be a rock star. I was
Nice.
playing in bands. I started orchestrally playing violin as a 4-year-old.
Oh wow.
I played, clarinet, trumpet, little saxophone, and then I picked up the guitar when I was 13. Started playing some piano, some bass, and some drums. And
Is there anything you don't play?
I actually wish I had some experience playing double reeded instruments like oboe or
Okay.
bassoon, but I
Okay.
have not tinkered. But that would be a really fun experiment. And then there's a lot of really cool exotic instruments that I would love to have the chance to tinker with and see if I can translate, one instrument to the other, which is sometimes how it works. When I started playing piano, it was very much playing guitar on the piano for me
Nice.
and just connecting dots. But at
Yeah,
that stage,
you've
I thought I was going to be a musician, and I did start working in restaurants. My first restaurant, I was a teenager. I was 16, 17 years old, working at a chain restaurant called Claim Jumper.
Claim Jumper. Still
Way
around, aren't
back
they?
when. I think they are.
Back
This
when
was
they used
23
to
years ago.
back when they used to serve whopping heaping yeah, the last time I went to
Everything.
Claim Jumper, it was like tiny little. I told my mom, I said, "Oh, we're going to Claim Jumper. Everything's huge. We can share it." And then it came and it wasn't huge. I'm like, "Oh, I guess they don't do that anymore."
Oh, interesting. It's been a while for me since I've been. So I maybe they
I think they were
lost their
sold and
sensibilities.
bought by somebody. So I
They
think
sure were.
they
hmm
probably said, we need to lighten the portions a bit. So
Reel it in. Yeah.
it's too bad.
Yeah. I met my wife there 21 years ago.
Nice.
I still have some friends that I came up with, at that time. And, I've been fortunate enough to work at much better restaurants than that as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, when you were doing restaurants, how did you do the
hmm
transition between restaurants into more of the spirits and ambassador way?
Yeah, absolutely. I was working at a little French boutique, and then a little French bistro, and I got the chance to open a restaurant here in LA in 2006 called Comme Ça. Comme Ça, the bar program was being set up by Milk and Honey and
Okay,
slash now Attaboy, now it's Attaboy. Sam Ross
nice.
did the bar program, and so that was just such an incredible experience. There was 30 of us training for probably 6 months, while the delays of opening a restaurant inevitably happened. We just kept learning, and it was almost like a reality show with no TVs, because every time we do a class, we test, and someone would kind of get the axe. And so I made, there was three of us that were left standing at the end of it, and
Wow,
I got to, that served as a passport to work at some really incredible spots afterwards.
that's really cool. And then, uh, so you learned your bartending skills from the Milk and Honey guy,
Yeah.
and then when did you leave, or did you leave restaurants to become a brand ambassador for whiskeys?
hmm hmm So there was actually about 5 years of overlap where I was
Okay,
bartending, consulting, and then doing part-time brand work for Balvenie and Glenfiddich. And
okay,
so during that time, I got this is, about 2010 through, you know, 2015, I want to say. And I got the chance to go out to Scotland, roll up my sleeves. I got to work at the Balvenie distillery for a week. I did everything from working a day in the still room to, building casks. It was such a bucket list experience for me. It was brilliant, and I'm sure when I eventually, you know, close the book, that's going to be one of those memories that flashes before my eyes.
yeah. No, that sounds extremely exciting. I went on a tour in Scotland, so I only got to watch all of that. I didn't get to actually do any of it.
hmm
But it seems that being a cooper would be extremely difficult.
Yeah, yeah. In it, I actually, you know, if you ask my wife, I'm probably not the most handy person, but I am a decent creative problem solver. Just not always great at following written directions. Um, my
So the
brain just
IKEA furniture is hard for you.
difficult for me because I'm better off without the instructions, just like reverse engineering the thing, and so my wife ends up like with the IKEA stuff taking over. Much to her frustration, I'm sure. But I was convinced that I was going to be so sloppy, and I built, on our team, I built the only cask that didn't leak.
Oh, nice.
So I did pretty well.
And how long did it take to do one? Because I know those Coopers can put one together in like 5 minutes.
Oh, they're insane. It took me much, much longer, but I was, under the watchful eye of Ian Miller, who looks after the Balvenie and Glenfiddich cooperage. He's a shorter gentleman, and they call him Mini Cooper, which is pretty damn amazing. And so
it would be great if you drove one too, right? Does he drive one?
I'm sure, no. Absolutely. I don't think he does, but he really embraces the nickname, and he was a phenomenal teacher. Help bring it to life for me so that I could, comprehend the instructions.
Nice. So how many were on each team, and how many teams were there?
Okay, so there was 8 of us looking after major markets in the U.S., and we all got to go out there, and it was pretty special.
And then how many people per barrel did you guys have, or is it just you, just one person?
No, it was just you. Yeah,
oh, wow.
Each of us got to take a swing and put one together. Hammering the rings down, and it was awesome. I can't believe thinking about that. So that was in 2014. I can't believe that was almost 10 years ago because it feels like yesterday for me.
Nice. So when you came back from that wonderful excursion, what kind of career building things were you doing to get you ready for the tuning spoon?
Getting the chance to work for William Grant and to see how they, their philosophies about building a brand. And then I got to, the opportunity to look after the Remy Martin brand after that.
Oh, nice.
And then I was promoted to looking after the full book because my spirits knowledge and geekiness expands beyond whiskey. And seeing how, Remy Quancho builds a brand. And then I got to work for Edrington and look after Macallan and Highland Park. And just to see where there's differences, where there are, where there's shared reality, and seeing what parts align with me and what I'm seeing in the market, what I'm seeing, out in the field or at events, or when I'm connecting with people, sharing the liquid and seeing what lights people up.
Nice. And then when did you come up with the idea for a tuning spoon, and when did making it a go become a reality?
Yeah, that happened this year. That was a big step for me to walk away from some really comfortable salaries, 401k, all that security, and to just take that leap. And so that happened towards the beginning of 2023 this year. And it's nerve wracking, but it's been so rewarding, and it's been such a beautiful period of growth in my life. And I'm working with some incredible clients. I'm working with a mezcal and a sotol brand called La Escondida. They have an incredible story, which I just love sharing with people, and just helping build a brand that has grown to be ubiquitous out in Europe, a mezcal brand that's just launching here in the United States. So they've been around for 10 years, and I get to get in at the ground floor here in the States and put people onto something new and exciting. I know sotol doesn't get a whole lot of light in the sun, and it's such a delightfully delicious category, and the expressions that La Escondida is putting out are just blow mine. So really, really lovely, getting the opportunity to contribute my experience, my gifts, and my instincts to helping out people that I believe in.
That's awesome. And then have you done any intimate tastings here in the area lately.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Whether it's uh, you know, a 3 hour Negroni class, for 6 people, and we do the deep dive into the history, the execution, and then lots of the fun variations. Or whether I did a brandy tasting for 15 people over a course dinner, and just explore some of the different styles of brandy, or doing which more in my wheelhouse, or at least where my first love was, which was single malt Scotch.
Nice.
Leading people on single malt Scotch tastings. Um, there's it's just been such a beautiful time, and I love that intimate setting because you really get to connect with people, and I love looking at people's faces and seeing what's exciting them, where the stimulation is, and how to bring more of that to life.
That's awesome. So what's your plan for the next 5 years with the tuning spoon?
Yeah. So right now, La Escondida is just in California and New York. I know that they're going to um, scale into other states. I would love to look after a national brand ambassador campaign for them. I'd love to do that for other brands. I'd love to partner with larger suppliers and develop really creative and emotionally intelligent programming, that just with a deep understanding of the universal human needs that make us all tick as humans, and the ways we scratch that itch with the spirits that we love. Just bringing that to life, and doing that on a larger scope and scale is definitely where I want to do it. Creating some fun experiences. I love doing things that are trade facing. I have some programming coming down the pipeline that's going to deliver education to the bar community, especially right now since there's been post COVID, several new generations coming into the
Yeah.
fold. How do we get them just as excited? How do we get them to carry the torch further than we brought it? And how do we communicate in maybe slightly different nonverbal and verbal ways that are going to really resonate with them, and help them buy into that shared identity that really carries this thing forward.
That's fantastic. So, if I were a person that wanted to set up a private tasting, where
Yeah.
would we be able to find you?
So you can find me at www.tuningspoon.net, and there's a way to contact me there. You can follow me on the gram at Tuning Spoon Co. And either one of those ways, or you can email me at brian@tuningspoon.net, and just send me a note. I'm a very approachable, personable guy, and I love having these conversations. I love to get a deep sense of what people are looking for, and making people feel comfortable, happy, and meeting people's needs is just something that's deeply ingrained in who I am as a person. So I love having those opportunities to do that.
That's great. And then I know you're based here in LA, but would you be able to do tastings anywhere in the country?
Absolutely, absolutely. Where there's a will, there's a way. We can get me out there to do really creative work in other cities. I've done plenty of that in the past with some of the jobs that I've done in the past, and I'd love the opportunity to scale this out. Absolutely.
That's fantastic. So, Brian, before we go, we were talking off air about your eggnog, and
Hmm.
I'm just amazed by this eggnog because, as I was saying, I've seen people that make homemade eggnog where they go and get eggnog from the store, just plain, and then they spruce it up with some various things. But your eggnog is like 100% pure, start to finish eggnog. Tell me about that.
Absolutely, it has to be. When you just try to combine, even if it's great quality spirits, with some store bought eggnog, even if it's the kind that comes in a glass, there's always such a disconnect between the spirit itself and what you're mixing it with, and this ethanol note kind of comes up the center. That
Ugh,
there's
yeah,
something just so much better about building it all from scratch. There's a cohesion. So for my eggnog, which is something I've been working on for probably over 15 years, and just tinkering it a little bit every year. Um, I blend cognac, rum, and bourbon. I infuse them all individually. I do some sultanas and raisins. I do some dehydrated and fresh banana,
Wow.
some vanilla bean. Uh, I use heat for some of these infusions to aid in extraction. I use vibration in others through ultrasonication. And then, I did a batch of this at when I was looking after the programs at Jonathan Club, where it was probably about 50 liters of this that I made. So we cracked hundreds of eggs. I used the big stand mixer that holds, like gallons and gallons and gallons to beat, hundreds of egg yolks to cream in the sugar. I make a syrup where I reduce different baking spices. I love that nutmeg to come through, some cloves, cinnamon, allspice, a little bit of fresh ginger. Love to infuse a little umami note in there as well. So I've even done nori, very, very dialed back. You would never notice it.
The flavors, the flavors that you're talking about, it's blowing my mind. I can't wait to taste this. So, you're making a batch starting tonight, tomorrow?
Yeah, I already made the syrup. So that that happened, last night, and then we're infusing tonight. And we'll be building it over the weekend together.
So this is literally a 3 to 4 day project just to make some eggnog. And then how much eggnog are you going to get out of what you're putting together this weekend?
So for this weekend, it's just a small group of friends that I'll be enjoying it with. So I think I'll keep the batch quite much smaller, probably only a couple liters, and I'll probably make something else a bit more refreshing, and we'll probably cap the night with some of the eggnog. It's delightfully rich, and when you have your ABV high enough for this, it actually ages beautifully. We set aside some of the batch that I made at Jonathan Club, and we aged it for a full year. And
did you age it in barrels?
The next year. No, I sterilized glasses. So
okay.
I used liter bottles that I clean with detergent and soap, but then just to make sure that it's completely nuked to zero and totally inert, I actually was using 200 proof anhydrous neutral grain spirit to rinse the bottles with before anything went in there.
Wow. And it's shelf stable with
well, no, you got to keep it under refrigeration. So you got to refrigerate it, but it ages beautifully. And that 1 year batch, it's really high test eggnog, and you just don't even taste the ethanol. You just taste all that beautiful weight of the different types of oak and distillate. And then with the infusion that kind of just marries it in there, it's making me really want to celebrate the holidays right now.
Yeah, no, that sounds really good. I'm going to send over a very sterilized bottle, and if you could give me a little swig, that would be great. I would love to have that and try it out. And maybe we'll talk to Chef Louise Leonard on our World of Wheezy segment and see what she can come up to pair with, or she'd probably come up something good to pair with that. Now, do you have specific brands you use for your cognac and your brandy and these? And do you want to share those or no?
Yeah, absolutely. I was using Remy Martin 1738.
Okay.
And I was using as far as the rum, it was a blend of several rums, but I wanted something aged, so there was some Diplomatico, some Appleton Estate.
Oh, nice.
I love that bright estery funk that the Jamaican rum brings into there. And then the bourbon, I was using Elijah Craig.
Nice. Very nice. Well, it sounds delicious. Brian, thank you again for your time. And I wish you all the best of luck on Tuning Spoon. And please do keep us posted on what you're doing in the future. And we'd love to have you back at a later time to catch up.
I love that, Kerry. Thank you so much for having me on. Love the work you're doing. And it's such a pleasure just having this conversation with you.
Thank you. World of Wheezy is up next. Stay with us. Like what you've seen on BRC? Want to see more? Experience more? And maybe even taste more? Then head over to our Ko-fi site and become a member of the Barrel Room Parlor. By choosing the Copper Level membership, you'll have exclusive access to videos related to topics discussed on the podcast and blog posts for members only. As an Amber member level, you'll enjoy everything from our Copper Level as well as various spin-off series including The Cutting Room Floor and Kindred Spirits. In addition, the Amber membership includes exclusive discounts to live in-person events. To join, visit www.barrelroomchronicles.com and click on Become a Member in the navigation bar. Or go straight to our Ko-fi site at ko-fi.com/BRC and click on the membership link. Once you've joined, you'll have access to everything your chosen level has to offer. You'll even be able to participate with the show by commenting on videos and other posts. Don't wait. Sign up today for exclusive content and event discounts in the Barrel Room Parlor. Hey Louise, how are you?
I'm good. How you been?
Good. So I told you about my friend Brian, who created the company Tuning Spoon, and he also made this lovely eggnog over the holidays, and recently made me a new batch so that I could share it with you. And when I tasted it over the holidays, I said, "Oh, we have to have Louise talk about this because, I mean, yes, it's no longer Christmas, but I mean, it's eggnog and it's good." So
well, and here's the thing: it's still cold.
It is still
in a lot
cold.
of places, and I'm from the Midwest. I've said it a million times. I'm sure everyone knows it by now. It's cold there, and if you go into the supermarket, eggnog is sold well past like Christmas.
Really?
It's still on the shelves.
All right, well, let's taste this. Cheers.
Cheers. That's eggnog.
It's got a lot of flavor.
Delicious. Banana-y.
Very. So what do you think about, like, I
Which
don't
is
know.
awesome because I don't normally taste banana with eggnog.
Right.
It's not like it's banana pudding-ish in a way, which is good.
Yeah. And there is bananas in here, infused with bananas, which, I have never had. Well, I don't know that I've never had. I've never had homemade eggnog. If homemade, sometimes
You've never had like eggnog made from scratch?
Not that I'm aware of, unless somebody didn't tell me. But I know that there are people that, I bought this at the store and then I added blah, blah, blah.
Sure, that's semi-homemade.
Yeah.
But you're saying from scratch you've never had?
From scratch, as far as I know, no, I've not had it. So, what do you think? What would you make or eat with this?
Well, so this is reminding me of former life when I lived in New York. I used to go to this awesome bar on Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn called the Waterfront Ale House, and every year during the holidays, the owner Sam would make homemade eggnog and sell it in quart-sized mason jars.
Okay.
And it was his own. I don't know what he put in it. The obvious, obviously cream, eggs, rum, nutmeg, all the spices and all of that. But I mean, everyone has their own recipe for it. So one of the things that I used to do is I used to buy his eggnog and then I would take it home and I make a cheesecake using his eggnog. So an eggnog cheesecake for the holidays. I have not done that in quite some time. It's a little bit, this style of cheesecake that I do takes some time. It's like a little bit labor intensive, but it's really damn good. And especially if you can imagine, like, if you are a person that loves eggnog during the holidays and then make it even more like,
and with this banana flavor into it too, that would be a very interesting eggnog. I mean, a very interesting cheesecake, because I've never had a cheesecake with a banana flavor either.
Yeah, and I mean, what's interesting about this one is that it's like when I taste it here, it's not like it's banana forward, right? But it's enough that I can pick it up. I baked into a cheesecake. I don't really know how much banana I would get, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know, maybe some caramelized bananas on top of the cheesecake as well.
You know what I was thinking too? Like for the crust, maybe use, and I'm sure you make your crust from scratch, but I always have, when I have like banana cream pie, like those vanilla wafer cookies.
Sure, you could like just completely lean into that whole idea and do it like that. Make a complete banana pudding, eggnog, cheesecake.
I think after today's recordings,
it's all the desserts all in one.
I think after today's recordings, I'm gonna have a whole lineup of a feast ready to go between everything we're going to talk about today. Yeah. Anyway, Louise, thank you so much. It's been great having you here on the show as always. It was good to see you, thank you so much for being here, and cheers to you.
Cheers.
That does it for today's show. To read notes on this episode or learn more about our guests, please visit barrelroomchronicles.com. Want to interact with the show or have questions for our guests? Then ask them on our socials or send us an email. Or better yet, leave us a voicemail on our website. If you like what you heard, please rate and subscribe to the podcast. If you really liked it and you want to show your support, buy us a whiskey through our Ko-fi site at ko-fi.com/BRC or become an exclusive member of the Barrel Room Parlor. If you work in the whiskey or spirits industry or just have a deep passion for whiskey and want to share your spirits journey, register to be a guest through our website. Last but not least, please enjoy your spirits responsibly. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, Solanjava.
Barrel Room Chronicles is a production of First Reel Entertainment and is available on Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.